Okay, hey there. Welcome to week 3, part 3. Again, this is your assessment assignment. So this will be worth at most 20% of your grade. So it's important that you do it and follow the directions. So what you're going to do, we read Macbeth in week 2. We watched a different interpretation of Macbeth for part 1 of week 3. Now I want you to make your own version inspired by the text. So you could pick any scene besides scene 1 because that's only about 10 lines long. But pick any scene from Act 1, scenes 2 through 7. Make a copy of the assignment, and then rewrite your scene while still being faithful to the text. So, let's look at part 1 because a lot of people are usually confused by this. I want you to create a different time, place, and setting, but it's still clearly Macbeth. So an example of what you see this often is Hamlet is another Shakespearean play, but that was actually reinterpreted and created into The Lion King that we know today from Disney. And this has happened throughout all the times of modern cinema and everything. Romeo and Juliet was inspired by a poem about a decade prior, so we're going to be inspired from what we've done. We did this in trimester 1 when we looked at a poem and we storyboarded our own version of that. But this is going to be a little more constrained, that you're still having the same story but a different time, place, and setting. And what you do is, let's say you want to pick your scene. So here's what I did. If you look at Act 1, Scene 3, I just have the part where Witch One punches the sailor. You're going to do the entire scene, but this is just an example. So as you see here, first witch, the sailor's wife, had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I. Aright the witch, the rump-fed Runnion cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of the tiger. Oh, but in the sea I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do, I'll do, I'll do. So you can see it says first witch, and then this is what she says. But what I like to do is go on to a thing called Know If You're Shakespeare, which is in the optional resources tab. And it just gives you a modern translation. So, same thing, first witch. A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap and munched away at them. Give me one, I said. Get away from me, witch, the fat woman cried. Her husband has sailed off to Aleppo as master of the ship called the Tiger. I'll sail there in a kitchen strainer, turn myself into a tailless rat, and do things to him. So, what I did is turned these 4 lines that I saw here and made my own interpretation. So my version is looking at the moon landing with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin was the second person to walk on the moon. Neil Armstrong was the first. So I just changed it. So instead of having it be a witch, I said Buzz Aldrin, and he would say, Neil Armstrong was slotted to be the first person to walk on the moon. Let me be the first guy. I got an awesome tagline, I said. Pump your brakes, kid, and go back to the whiskey bottle you were drinking, the pretentious Armstrong cried. He is stationed to be in the Apollo 13 flight. I'll come sneaky snake and sabotage him. They often say that loose lips sink ships, but loose bolts are quicker. So again, I'm still having the same story, but instead of having it be, just a witch in medieval Scotland, I turned it to be Buzz Aldrin about to sabotage Neil Armstrong from the moon landing. Did this really happen? No, but it's my own version and interpretation of the text. Oftentimes people do it into like a samurai and ninja story. I've had it be during the Roaring Twenties, during Prohibition. The world's your oyster for the story. And all you'd have to do is make a copy, click here, and when you're looking here, here's the actual assignment here. Here's the grading scale. Here are the questions that I want you to do. So the main character, that's going to be the main person that is in your scene. So if you're doing scene 5, you can either do Lady Macbeth or Macbeth. Just talk about who they are. what happens to them, what's their motivation, etc., etc. And then, yeah, this is like, what scene are you doing? Give me a concept of the scene. Summarize the scene. What are the major events? What are you doing to make sure it makes sense? And how does this contribute to the larger themes of the play? So again, that's fate versus free will, or absolute power corrupts absolutely. And then underneath here, you can write your own script, but then you submit it into Turn It In, and that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And you can email me